So, everybody, welcome again to another video of me talking about Grandmaster. So, last time my video, we've talked about, or basically covered about the whole basics of the skills, the combos, my gear, the branch damages, and all that. For now, let's talk about some of the more, I wouldn't say advanced, but I would say that it's one of the things that you should always keep in mind. Because in arena, when you're fighting an opponent, basically there are windows. There are windows that you can actually land as a good CC to your opponent, provided that you have good timing. But the problem is, what about in field PvP? Because in field PvP, when you're outside, let's say for a guild versus guild, Black Sun, Nightmare, Outlaw, or something like that, or any PvP content outside the arena, it can be applied to Ramones as well. So what about in those areas? How do we fare in those areas? So the thing is, although Grandmasters are actually built for the arenas, let's say for 1 versus 1, he is really not bad when it comes to field PvP. Because what I like about Grandmasters is that they're high adaptability. They're so dynamic that you can actually adapt into any situation that the game can throw at you because of the skill set that he has. The main problem right now is that because we now have the increase in the minimum damage in PvP content, which is now boosted up to 75%, it means that even low CP players, say right now I'm at 23,914 CP, even a 16k CP can hurt, especially if that 16k CP is a Zerk. They can now hurt. So what do we need to do in order to survive, right? If you guys notice in my previous videos, I am always on the move, right? Even when I was using my Blade Master, you can see that my playstyle has always been the one who is like trying to get this annoying ant that is biting my ass all the time. That's why I'm always on the move. That's my playstyle. I wouldn't stay in place. You won't find me attacking here in just one place all the time, right? You see me. I always do. I always do this and attack, and then like that I dodge, and then or whatever. That's my playstyle, right? The thing is, this one is one of the best things that you can do as a Grandmaster. Keep in mind also that this class is not also the class if you're looking for a high damage output potential. Why? Because us Grandmasters rely on our combos, right? So before we get started on hello Musang, what's up? before we get started on the whole thing here, I would like to point out, or let's say I would like to explain to you guys how to utilize your knee hammer effectively in order to reposition yourself from your enemies. So, alright, number 1, using knee hammer to reposition yourself or circle around your opponents. So as you know, knee hammer from the basics has 3 dashes, right? We have 3, so that's 1, 2, 3. We can linger it. Wait, that's not the cooldown. 1, 2, 3. But dodge is one of the most vital resource there is when it comes to PvP. We need to save dodges, right? So instead of just dashing another one, spending all your dodges, we can use knee hammer. So if you notice, I am using knee hammer as a means to reposition myself, not only engaging. I rarely use this one to engage. Or let's say I rarely use the knee hammer to engage right away. I usually just get inside, shoulder thrust, or when I saw an enemy coming, I always use Gale Force and then Hell Sweep, because these two skills have amazing tracking, and it has mobility as well. So this one is long range, right? But Hell Sweep jumps straight to your opponent. So you don't need to dodge or use another engage skill like Knee Hammer to attack your opponent or to, say, start your combos. From the basics video that I have posted before, Knee Hammer has invincibility every time it travels, right? It says in the skill here. Let's go back again. This one, the Flow Ravenous, grants invincible while moving. So that means if you are constantly moving, those split-second in-betweens, you cannot take damage. As well as Knee Hammer has super armor. So if you're constantly on the move, repositioning yourself, right? Not only that you can there's a possibility or there's a high chance that you negate incoming attacks, you are also confusing your opponent. So let's say for this one, let's take Musang as our model for now. Alright, let's try to circle around him, right? So carefully, say 1, 2, 3. See? You can actually circle around him. Wait, I'm on a cooldown. So 1, 2, 3. See that? So if he's attacking in one direction, let's say he's attacking in front of me, I can just dash here, reposition, and his attacks are still on the previous position that I am in. It's still on that animation. So meaning you totally negate that attack without the need of your dodge, because as I said, dodge is one of the most vital resource there is when it comes to PvP. So we need to save our dodges. Use the Knee Hammer. It gives you invincibility frames, and it also has super armor, so it's good. So one good way to practice that one, if you want to practice or get the hang of it, use these poles, for example. Try to circle around it. Right? So from here, I'm gonna go to the other side. 1, 2, 3. Like that. See? I also, if you notice on my other videos, especially in Node War, I always use Knee Hammer when I'm diving inside a base. So it's like I avoid the enemies coming towards me. So let's say for this one, and I use Spiral Cannon. So 1, 2, 3, dodge, and then what the hell? What did I press? Sorry. Again, 1, 2, 3, dodge, and then use Spiral Cannon. That is one of the things that I always do when I want to stay mobile in field outside. So again, use Knee Hammer. That is very good in terms of confusing your opponents and negating damage. So what's next? So now that you can practice utilizing Knee Hammer, let's talk about canceling your skill animations. So basically, I think we have 3. So we have see that? See that? I am using Gale Force, but I cancel it with dodge. I think most of the classes can actually cancel the skill animations using their dodges. But for Grandmasters, we have Shoulder Thrust. The beauty of this one is that Shoulder Thrust has a 2-second cooldown, gives you the endurance buff, has forward guard, and also has super armor. So remember that I told you that you can actually spam Shoulder Thrust? And did you guys notice that on my previous videos when I'm using GM, I always use Shoulder Thrust in between my attacks. So let's say kick, and see that? I always do that. Why? Because I always wanted to utilize the front guard that shoulder thrust has. So if I'm gauging an opponent, I can actually just do the gale force, cancel it with shoulder thrust. So once you do that, any incoming attacks to the front, you can actually negate it, but you still manage to damage them twice. Right? Just like that. So, for example, there's an enemy. Okay, he's coming right at me. Okay, I kick and then shoulder thrust. You deal damage to them, but when they attack you, especially if it's a frontal attack, you will not take any damage. That's why my favorite skill is shoulder thrust next to knee hammer. So you can cancel everything with shoulder thrust. That's one of the updates that PA did to Grandmasters. So let's say Hell Sweep, cancel with shoulder thrust. It's fast. So you can practice that one using, yeah, like that. Like that. So, and see that? I also cancel that way. Next skill that can cancel is the energy vacuum. Energy vacuum can cancel other skills. So let's say I usually use this only on Hell Sweep because it's my skill tab is not that accessible for this one. But as you notice that on my combo videos, I use Hell Sweep and then cancel the last attack, which is the Hadouken part, with energy vacuum. So this is how you do it. See that? See that? I immediately canceled the last part of Hell Sweep with energy vacuum, but I still managed to release that Hadouken part. So there are three ways that we can cancel our skills. One is the dodge. See that? I canceled both Gale Force and Hell Sweep using dodge. Next one that we can use to cancel is shoulder thrust. And then we can also cancel using energy vacuum. So in summary, well, what we've talked about right now, first is the knee hammer, right? Then animation canceling, right? So how do you apply this one in field? For the knee hammer, it's basically it's like self-explanatory. I always say to my guildmates and to other who are actually asking me about what do I do in field PvP. As a melee class, repositioning is key, right? Even if you are one of the most or the highest damage dealer in a group, always reposition. If you stay in one place, then you're pretty much dead. Especially right now when it has 75% minimum damage, it's like a death sentence if you stay still. If you stay still and just keep on attacking, it's not gonna work that way. It's a suicide mission, right? So what I always do is attack, cancel, and then dodge again, right there, and then reposition again, something like that. So if I say 1, 2, and then I get out, and then I reposition again, do the Gale Force, and then I grab somebody, or something like that. So as you can see, I'm always all over the place. I remember, I remember Ricky Nishu. If you guys know Ricky Nishu, sad to say though that he took a break from the game. He said that every time that he is watching my videos, my Grandmaster videos, he's getting tired because it's like so much work. But in reality, is that once you get the hang of it, it's like driving a manual transmission car. It looks intimidating at first because it's like you're pressing a whole slew of buttons here. But once you get the hang of it, it's like second nature already. So one good way to practice this one is in Hadum boss rushes. I practice my repositioning skills, my attack skills, my strategies in staying alive as much as possible in Hadum boss rushes. So also I use these poles if I want to target my mobility. Sometimes I use these poles. Say, look, can you see those little gaps in there? Sometimes I use that one to practice my shooting skills. It's like that in spiral cannon. So yeah, so let's say 1, 2, 3. No, I missed, right? Oh, by the way, in spiral cannon, you can actually direct which direction you want it to dash. So let's say from 1 going to the right. There we go. See, I shoot over here. So you can use that one as one way to trick your opponent. Say, for example, you're attacking, right? And then you dash, but then sorry. Say you're attacking, and then suddenly you dash in front of them, and then point, and then you went back. Right? So it's one good way to gain distance from your opponent. Say, for example, like this one, you went out, right? And then you saw them coming at you, and then you just Gale Force again. Reinitiate your combos. That's how important repositioning is. Because I have this principle in field PvP that is that a good DPS is no good if you're always end up dead, right? Even if you're the highest damage dealer in your group, if you always end up dying in field, it's then what good is that high damage? So practice in repositioning using knee hammer or something like that. You can also use Gale Force actually to gain a bit of a distance, because this one has a short dash to it, or a short movement to it. It covers like a short distance. So once you practice, and once you try to revisit some of my old videos, you'll see that I am all over the place. That is one of my strategies to keep myself alive and deal much more damage outlasting my opponents. So I hope you learned something. If you guys have questions, please leave a comment down below, and I'll answer them as I'll help you guys answer them to the best of my abilities. But yeah, so for the more advanced stuff, I'll probably think of some ways of how can I explain it in such a way that you can actually understand it. So that will be for my next video, some of the much more advanced stuff when it comes to dealing opponents outside the field. I might use an example using Black Sun, because tonight is actually Black Sun, so I'll probably gather some footage there. So yeah, but anyway, I hope you learned something today, and I hope that with the knowledge that I have shared with you, you can practice it. This is not only specific for the Grandmaster class. I think it also applies to every class in the game, especially melee characters. Just remember, outside the field, repositioning is key. Play defensively. Minimize damage as much as possible. Stay mobile. And then you pretty much outlast them. So that is it in summary. So anyway, until the next video, alright, I'll see you again. Wait, can I say goodbye here? Wave? Oh no, there's no emoji. But anyway, alright, thanks, see ya, good night. For those who hasn't subscribed yet, please subscribe. So yeah, good night.